today's video we deep dive into the science behind what we feel. Emotions shape our thoughts, behaviors, decisions, relationships, and even our physical health. But what exactly are emotions? How are they formed? What happens in the brain and body when we feel joy, sadness, anger, or fear? In this video, we'll explore the biological basis of emotions, the role of neurotransmitters and hormones, how emotions are processed in the brain, the evolutionary purpose of emotions, psychological theories behind emotional experience, the connection between emotions and physical health, how culture, memory, and cognition influence what we feel. Emotions are complex psychological and physiological states that arise as a response to internal or external stimuli. Subjective experiences, how we feel. Physiological responses, changes in heart rate, hormones, etc. Behavioral expressions, facial expressions, tone of voice, actions. Emotions are different from moods. Moods are longer-lasting and less intense. Emotions are usually short-lived and triggered by specific events. Emotions serve as a rapid information processing system. They guide our decision-making, signal to others how we feel, and help us respond quickly to the environment. The brain plays a central role in how emotions are generated and interpreted. Key areas involved include: amygdala detects emotional relevance, especially fear and threat. Initiates the fight or flight response. Involved in emotional learning and memory. Prefrontal cortex, responsible for regulating emotions. Helps us make decisions based on emotional input. Plays a role in suppressing inappropriate emotional reactions. Hippocampus, involved in forming emotional memories. Links emotions to specific contexts or events. Hypothalamus, regulates the autonomic nervous system. Controls hormone release during emotional states. Anterior cingulate cortex, monitors conflicts between emotional impulses and rational behavior. Integrates emotional and cognitive information. Each of these regions works in concert to shape what we feel, how we interpret those feelings, and how we express them. Biochemical messengers in the brain and body heavily influence our emotional states. Dopamine, associated with pleasure, reward, motivation. Released during enjoyable experiences and anticipation. Plays a role in addiction and reinforcement. Serotonin, linked to mood stability, happiness, and well-being. Low levels are associated with depression and anxiety disorders. Norepinephrine, involved in alertness, arousal, and the stress response. Increases heart rate and blood pressure during fear or anger. Cortisol, known as the stress hormone, released during prolonged stress or fear. Chronic high levels can affect mood, memory, and immune function. Oxytocin, often called the love hormone, enhances bonding, trust, empathy, and social bonding. Released during childbirth, hugs, and positive social interactions. Endorphins, natural painkillers produced during exercise or excitement, contribute to feelings of euphoria and pleasure. These chemicals are the invisible drivers behind the feelings we experience every day. Emotions are not random. They evolve to increase our chances of survival and reproductive success. Fear helps us avoid danger, triggers the fight or flight response, keeps us alert and vigilant. Anger mobilizes us to confront threats, protects resources and boundaries, signals dominance and warns others. Joy encourages social bonding, reinforces behaviors that are beneficial, promotes well-being and cooperation. Disgust protects us from toxins or harmful substances, reduces the likelihood of infection or disease. Sadness signals the need for help or support, encourages introspection and problem-solving, can foster social bonding and empathy in others. These evolutionary functions highlight how deeply embedded emotions are in our biology. Several major theories attempt to explain how emotions are generated and experienced. Emotions result from physiological reactions to stimuli. For example, we feel afraid because we tremble. Emotions and physiological responses occur simultaneously. The brain sends signals to the body and creates the feeling at the same time. Emotions arise from the combination of physical arousal and cognitive interpretation. The same arousal can lead to different emotions depending on context. Lazarus' cognitive appraisal theory. Emotions depend on our interpretation of events. Appraisals happen first, then emotional and physiological responses follow. Constructivist theory. Emotions are not hardwired but constructed from experiences, culture, and language. Emotions are predictions our brain makes based on past input. Each theory highlights a different component of how and why we feel the way we do. There is a strong and well-documented link between emotional health and physical health. Chronic stress, linked to cardiovascular disease, weakened immune function, and inflammation. Impairs sleep, digestion, and cognitive performance. Depression, affects the immune system, increases pain sensitivity, and contributes to chronic illness. Often leads to poor lifestyle choices and reduced self-care. Positive emotions, boost immune function and increase life expectancy, promote resilience, better coping mechanisms, and reduced risk of disease. Emotional suppression, can lead to increased physical tension, hypertension, and lowered immune response. Long-term repression may contribute to anxiety and depressive disorders. Managing emotional health is a crucial component of overall wellness. Emotion and memory are closely intertwined. Emotional events are more likely to be remembered than neutral ones. The amygdala and hippocampus work together to encode emotional memories. High arousal enhances memory encoding but can impair accuracy. This relationship explains why we vividly remember emotionally charged experiences, whether traumatic or joyful. However, memory is not perfect. It's reconstructive and influenced by our current emotional state, biases, and expectations. Emotions affect how we think. Decision-making. Emotions guide choices, often unconsciously. Gut feelings are emotional summaries of complex information. Attention. We pay more attention to emotionally relevant stimuli. Emotionally charged content is more likely to capture and hold attention. Problem solving. Positive moods can enhance creativity and flexibility. Negative moods can improve attention to detail and critical thinking. The interplay between emotion and thought is constant and deeply embedded in every cognitive function. Emotions are universal, but their expression is shaped by culture. Basic emotions like happiness, sadness, anger, fear, disgust, and surprise are universally recognized. Cultural norms dictate how emotions are displayed or suppressed. For example, in collectivist cultures, emotional restraint may be valued to maintain group harmony. In individualistic cultures, open expression may be encouraged as a sign of authenticity. Language also influences emotion. Some languages have words for emotions that others don't. This shapes how people label and interpret what they feel. Emotional intelligence refers to the ability to recognize one's own emotions, understand the emotions of others, manage emotional responses, use emotions to guide behavior and decision-making. High emotional intelligence is linked to. Thanks for watching. If you want to watch more this kind of videos, then do not forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon.